Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Theater of Football. I'm Mike Hodum, and I'm joined once again by Patrick Heinrich. Hello, Patrick.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
I'll speak for everybody. It's going great.
All right.
Manchester United just signed 4 players. Everybody's happy.
Mike just came back from an alternate universe where things are going well.
Oh, yeah, hi. So today we'll get to Mason Greenwood's, I guess call it indiscretion in Reykjavik.
Yep.
We'll also banter a little bit about the release of the United's third kit today, as I call it, the Zebra Kit, as many of you call it, the Zebra Kit probably as well. But first we want to get to transfer news, and I lied, there were not 4 signings. When we left you on Friday, it looked like Reguilón could possibly be imminent. However, that saga is still dragging on. Rumors every day seem to be pointing to United getting close to a deal, but nothing beyond that.
Yeah.
The typical crap that you expect from the Glaciers and Ed Woodward at this point. But one interesting bit of news, player who played today for England, Jadon Sancho, heavily rumored with and negotiating with, Dortmund intermediaries early on in this window. There's some news coming out of Germany, and I don't know how well-founded it is, but it's gaining some steam, that United are convinced they have a deal in place for Sancho. Patrick, first of all, do you think these rumors are true? And secondly, we're going to revisit this again. Are you excited if it's true?
Well, the Sancho saga continues, of course, but I, at the risk of being very skeptical, I'm going to say no. I don't think it's happening. But interestingly enough, I do hear a lot of reports, kind of that go along with what you've been hearing, that we've been Manchester United has been engaging directly with Sancho to try and essentially sweeten the pot for him to try and go back to Dortmund, to then have him push a little bit harder to get the transfer to go through. So I could see that as a tactic to try and get the deal, push the transfer through. But the main issue I see with that is things could seem really rosy talking to Sancho about it, and he may really like, what's being put on the table. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Dortmund is going to be all on board with it either. So I'm pretty skeptical about it. And as far as whether or not, I want it to happen, I still do want it to happen. Especially now, over time, it's been kind of in the beginning, it's kind of ridiculous if we spent that much money. But now I think we're just getting kind of desperate, and I think we just want something. And I know recently I read that Ole had said he's really trying to focus on attacking football. And so he's looking at, like attacking fullbacks, like Reguilón. And that also kind of signaled to me that maybe Sancho is still on the table and is really pushing for that. But at the risk of being, really pessimistic about it, I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'll believe it when I see him posing with a United shirt on a United Twitter release, Twitter post, I should say. But what's interesting also is that United's stock price on the New York Stock Exchange rose over 8% today, which I think I read is the highest one-day increase since the day we signed Paul Pogba. What was that, 4 years ago now? And also Dortmund's price, I believe they trade on the Frankfurt exchange. I think it's Frankfurt. Their price went up quite a bit too. Do you think that's related to potentially a Sancho deal being in place? Or is that
somebody has some better intel than we do on that? But I think my opinion is that if it's to the point where it's impacting stock prices, I would expect it to be more well known than it is. Yeah. So I mean, it could be a coincidence. It could be people are feeling optimistic that a deal is going to happen, or that the transfer is going to go through. So that could be a good sign that generally people feel very optimistic about it. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily a signal that it's a done deal.
Yeah, I mean, I did say that what I read was that the United stock rose for the Pogba thing was when we announced he signed. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it's just weird to me. Do you think maybe the rise in stock price has to do with the release of our awesome third kit today?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes. The zebra kit for the win. People are really excited about
Hmm.
it.
I bet you already put your purchase in, haven't you?
Oh yeah, actually, I was just on looking at it and trying to get the sizing figured out.
Yeah. You getting McGuire?
Yeah, yeah, right. No, Jones. You
So,
know,
oh yeah.
obviously
My
Jones.
bad. How could I have been so stupid? Of course,
Absolutely.
Phil Jones.
No, actually, it did take me down a crazy rabbit hole of researching World War II camouflage of Navy ships for the English Royal Navy during World War II, and that was interesting. I learned a little bit about the razzle dazzle. So now I feel more well informed about that. So for those of you who have seen the United Third Kit and don't know what the razzle dazzle is, you should look that up. It's a pretty interesting story.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't seen the kit and want to know what the razzle dazzle is, just Google World War II battleships for the Royal British Navy and just go that way instead. I think you'll at least learn something like Patrick did, and it'll just be a better use of everyone's time because yeah, I think the less said about the kit at this point, better.
Yeah.
I will add this, that I thought they were going to be matching shorts and socks, and apparently there's not. So I'm just thankful there's not that.
Yeah, that's too much. It's too much.
Um, we talked about Sancho, and he played both matches for England in Iceland and in Copenhagen against Denmark. Did not really do much, in my opinion. Didn't impress. Um, Mason Greenwood made his debut in Reykjavik. However, he was not with the squad in Denmark. He and Phil Foden engaged in some, let's just say they violated the COVID protocols that are in place for these international travels and international, not friendlies, but the UEFA Nations Cup and the protocols that are in place with all the countries and stuff like that. So he got sent home. What are your thoughts on that, Patrick? Are you disappointed with Mason?
Well, he got his debut appearance and his debut COVID scandal. So at least we can get that out of the way, perhaps. But no, I mean, I think I guess I'm a little disappointed. You always expect players to follow the rules. Want players to stay safe from COVID, especially leading up to the start of Premier League play. Obviously, Mason's young. He's resilient. He's got youth on his side. So I'm not like incredibly upset that he, took a risk. But, I mean, he's traveling with the team. I can see how his, youth kind of got in the way of wanting to have a good time. But I also wanted to make good decisions. So I'm like, I'm kind of disappointed, but I'm not, very.
Yeah, I mean, he's 18 years old. Disappointed I am with him. He's issued a statement through United today, basically owning what he did was wrong and it was a mistake. He shouldn't have done it, but he'll learn from it and improve. I'm sure he and all the other players got a long list of do's and don'ts while they're traveling, and I'm sure bringing anybody into their little bubble in the hotel there was one of them, and he violated that, and that was a foolish mistake. He was probably feeling his fame. Having said that, I'm gonna go in on Gareth Southgate here because I think he's garbage. He's riding high off of a fourth place finish in the World Cup. Well, look who they beat to get to that fourth place finish. They beat Tunisia on a injury time goal. They crushed Panama. Okay, good job. Then they lose to Belgium, finish second in their group. They beat Colombia on penalties. Okay, good job. England usually don't win penalty shootouts.
Yeah, that's a first here.
Yeah, so that might have been his greatest achievement. They followed that up by beating another team they should have beaten in the quarterfinals in Sweden. Then they went on to lose to Croatia. Croatia had a good side, but England could have beaten them. And then they lose to Belgium again. They didn't really play the big heavyweights, if you know the traditional heavyweights. Belgium have great players, and probably their top 5 or 6 players in that squad were better than England's top 5 or 6 players in that squad. So there's no shame in that, but everyone wants to praise him. And I know recent history in tournaments for England has been poor, but I mean, come on, with the teams they played, that's great. Then he comes back from this COVID pandemic, and he gets to name his first team for these Nations Cup matches, and he releases the squad the day during Harry Maguire's trial in Greece and names Maguire part of the squad. Well, a few hours later, the rigged verdict comes in. They find Maguire guilty, and he immediately drops him. Why are you dropping him? If you're naming the squad while the trial's going on, and with everything we knew with the speed of the trial at that point, the verdict was already going to be we already knew the verdict pretty much. Just leave him off the squad altogether. I mean, you bringing that player into more scrutiny than is necessary. And if you just leave him off, you say, oh, well, I don't know what the verdict will be. It'll be to come down in the end of the day or whatever. We just felt like it was best for Harry to have some time to himself. Fine, fair enough. I think that's good management. Mm-hmm. Instead, you bring him in the squad. You supposedly back him until the verdict comes in. Then you wish him off. And then this happens with Greenwood, and I'm not going to get into his exact quotes, but he pretty much threw Phil and Mason under the bus and how their youth shouldn't matter, and they need to understand how serious of a situation this is. And he just went on and on and on. And I understand with the protocol, you need to get them out of the squad. You can't have them in contact with the players, but you need to kind of have a little bit of a soft touch with them. Mm-hmm. And I didn't feel like he had that at all. And I just think he's an absolute jerk. Talked about Mason possibly feeling his fame. Another thing Southgate did was he brought him in for the press conference ahead of the Iceland game. He's 18 years old. He should not be facing the media. I don't care how much the media wants to see him, how much the FA may be pressuring Gareth to put him in front of the media. He shouldn't be sitting there. And of course, he gets a question about, what's happened with Harry, with what's happened with Harry and what do you think happened with him, and are you still happy with him as captain? Some terrible question like that. Like, that journalist should have been slapped and sent out of the country when that happened, in my opinion. But of course he was going to get that question. And to Mason's credit, he handled it extremely well. Got to give him props there. He handled that question. He handled the press conference really well. But you're giving him a big head by putting him in front of the media there. So Gareth Southgate's the one who is in my opinion, largely responsible for the monster he created on this trip to Reykjavik. Every time I see a managerial opening come available, Tottenham when they sacked Pochettino, a couple other mid-table clubs like Everton, I always see Gareth Southgate's name mentioned, and I'm just thinking, why? He would be a disaster. I think he already managed Middlesbrough and did a terrible job there. Then he got into the England national team youth setup and basically got this job by default because, from what I understand, no one really wanted it. So after Hodgson got sacked after the Euro 2016, so he's just not that great of a manager. And I think he's the one who handled this situation terribly. It started with Maguire, and it continued with Greenwood. And, it's just disappointing because he wants to go and throw Greenwood and Foden under the bus. Well, you set this up, you idiot.
Yeah.
Look in the mirror yourself. I mean, I'm not. Maybe he doesn't take Mason to the press conference. He takes some other first time player or potentially winning their first cap like a Grealish, who's a club captain. You can take him. He's far more used. He's older. He's far more used to handling the media. Um, maybe Greenwood still does what he does. I don't know. He's buzzing after getting his first cap, but I mean, come on, Gareth Southgate. God, he's ridiculous. I'm tired of hearing his name. I'm
Yeah.
tired of saying his name at this point.
Yeah. He lit a fire and then got angry at the fire for burning down his house.
Yeah, disgusted, sick of him. But
Breathe.
take a breath. I'm gonna have a little drink of my water here.
Yeah. The thing about the Maguire thing was like, well, you couldn't just wait a day. Like, you couldn't wait until the verdict was over. Like,
Exactly.
come on. Like, even if you know what's going on, I mean, it's not like it was a surprise to you.
No.
You should know what your players are up to and whether or not when their trial date is. You just wait to get the verdict and then you release your list. And it's like, why even bother?
Yeah, you should always know when your players' trial dates are going on, the date and time that they're
Very
happening.
true.
And then don't release your squad during that time. Now, I don't know if maybe there was some type of time deadline. There was probably something from the England FA PR to release it. But even so, just leave him. Just make the decision to leave him off it. I mean, these matches, they're for the UEFA Nations League, which was created yesterday. So yesterday, 2 years ago. So I mean, it's not it's not the World Cup. It's not the European Championships. It's not. I mean, just leave him off the squad. You're playing Iceland and Denmark, and you should be able to beat those teams without Harry Maguire. You got lucky. You got a little bit lucky against Iceland. And you didn't get any luck against Denmark. I believe it finished 0-0.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just stupid. I mean, just common sense dictates this trial's going on. Just leave him off.
Plan around it.
Yeah, just so you know, we back. Harry's great. We just feel like these games are coming too soon. We just want to let him have some time to decompress and allow him to sort out this legal situation and get ready for the new year. And hopefully he'll be back with the squad for the next set of internationals, which I believe are in another 4 weeks or so, coming up quick.
Yep.
So, yeah, if I was Harry, I'd be pretty upset with how Southgate handled that, actually. That's about it for the theater of football. Ended on a bit of a harsh note, but that's how we roll sometimes. We'll be back. We're back later this week. The Premier League is kicking off this Saturday, so don't miss that. I'm sure you won't. Can't wait. United won't be playing though, Patrick, unfortunately. We'll have to wait another week. But there'll be plenty of other matches to watch. So we hope you enjoy that if you don't hear from us before then. But the curtain is now closing. I'd like to thank Patrick for joining me once again.
Of course.
Yeah. And for Patrick, I'm Mike. And hit us up on Twitter. Let us know what you think about Gareth Southgate and how he's managed his players over the past 2-3 weeks, because I'm curious to see what other United fans are thinking, if they're like-minded or they just think maybe our players are a bit daft. I don't know. But it's at Theater of Football on Twitter. Hit us up. And once again, for Patrick, I'm Mike. Thank you for watching.
Cheers, everyone.
Oh, hello. Thank you for watching the Theater of Football. If you think Mike got it wrong yet again, please leave your thoughts in the comment section below.